Welcome to the Tutors of Life podcast, where we research life so you don't have to. Episode 294. This is your host, Shaun Tutor.
And this is Sam. And this is the talk episode where the tutors talk.
We're one day late.
We are one day late.
That's all right.
We were going to podcast while we were in Lisbon.
We're just having too much damn fun.
Yeah. We really didn't have... We did have time, but we were enjoying ourselves.
We're enjoying vacay, dude.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So now we're back, obviously. Hopefully this week I'll catch up on YouTube videos, so you guys will be able to catch up on those if you want to watch. But yeah, how was the end of our trip, Shaun?
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I ate a lot of food.
How much weight did you gain?
I gained 10 pounds.
Yep. I gained 5 pounds.
In 8 days.
9 days.
9 days.
Yeah.
10 pounds in 9 days. I told Phil when I left jiu-jitsu Monday night, I said my goal is to gain 10 pounds.
And you did it.
And I did it, dude. Successful.
I was not planning on gaining weight, but I did. So, it's fine.
Oh, yeah. I will shed this off. Hopefully not fast.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at the same weight that I was in January. So.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's just bloat right now. So, in theory, 5 pounds of it will go away fast. But I want to be around 190. I would like to be around 200 pounds. I'm 200 pounds right now. So, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, what else we got? The end of the vacay was a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you are really into food, I highly suggest going to Portugal. Porto was a lot better for us than Lisbon.
Oh, yeah. Porto was fucking way better food-wise. Better pricing, better quality.
Yeah.
And probably, easier to find.
Yeah. Porto was way easier to walk around than Lisbon.
It seemed.
Lisbon is known for its, a labyrinth of pathways. So we were in Alfama, which is the old district of Lisbon. And literally, I mean, you could get lost in the maze of houses and pathways forever.
Yeah.
Probably for an hour or two. You could get just lost going up and down. And there's a lot of, neat little restaurants sprinkled throughout in there. But Porto, it was just... The streets were really easy to navigate, and, there was landmarks every once in a while, so we'd be like, oh, we're by the train station, so we know we need to go up here.
Right.
Oh, we're by this lion statue, so we need to go this way.
Right.
They just have more sporadic landmarks, and Lisbon doesn't, at least in the district we were in, Lisbon doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Plus, Lisbon is very, very mountainous. So...
Big time.
We could go from Alfama to just the downtown and go up and down 3 hills.
It was so dumb.
It was wild. So yeah, Porto was just, they have one main big hill, I would say. I guess we would go down and then up and then down again.
They had a couple, but nowhere near.
They weren't nearly as bad, I don't think. But yeah, Porto... Like I said, just the food options were just endless there.
Oh, yeah. Better pricing, better quality, better food.
Yeah.
But let me see here.
Better pastel de natas, too.
Better pastel. And the biggest thing, not the biggest thing, but another thing to think about is it was less ghetto-y.
Yeah.
In Porto.
Yeah.
We walked a lot of streets, and never was I like, this is a little sketch. But we entered some dark communities and witnessed drug deals go down, and people just kind of stared at you.
Yeah. We walked through a park, and and it was a main park downtown.
A main park, dude.
And we're walking through it, and literally we're about 10 steps in, and I was just like, we don't fit in here.
We're in the wrong park.
Yep. And a guy's just like, it's all good, man, to Shaun 3 times.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think they could tell we were terrified.
Yeah.
But you could tell that's where some of the immigrants live because it
Yeah.
just smelled of feces. It was so bad.
Oh yeah, dude, just smell of shit and piss.
Yep.
It is interesting, dude. I don't know. And then we found out towards the end that there's quite a bit of illegal immigrants there.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
made sense.
so there are illegal immigrants, but they also Portugal is kind of it's one of those countries that like feels bad about like their past actions.
Yep.
So for a while they were invading a lot of countries and like trying to take over. And so now like they're kind of trying to backtrack and just like, oh, if we invaded your country, you can come get a Portuguese passport for up to 7 generations.
Mm-hmm.
That is over 200 years, dog.
It's crazy.
So there's a really big like Indian population there.
Mm-hmm.
A couple African countries have moved into Lisbon. And so yeah, it was kind of interesting. But in like what we also learned was Lisbon has gotten so expensive now to live downtown that all the locals live outside of town. And Lisbon looked like it went on forever.
It's fucking massive, dude.
I mean, it was a half-hour drive to the airport.
Yeah.
And we weren't stuck in traffic that long either. So yeah, I mean, it's just the downtown area has gotten way too overpriced. So, and that's obviously like, there was a lot more homeless people in Lisbon too than in Porto.
Yeah, for sure.
But we met some people in Porto on one of our tours that are locals, and they lived not that far, I don't think, because they said they drive down there all the time.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I recommend Porto more than Lisbon. Lisbon is something you have to go see though, like especially in Alfama. There's not very many places you can see those like kind of streets just winding through all the houses and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. The castle was pretty dope. The views were pretty gnarly.
But I mean, Lisbon is something you could do for like 2-3 days. And be like, okay, I'm content. I don't need to come back.
I'd go to Porto for a few days.
And then go to Porto for like a week.
I'd fucking go back to Porto for a week, dude. And I would do the same thing we did this time. Get fat. 100%. Didn't even give a fuck, dude.
No. Porto would have was a lot easier to find like just meat options.
Dude, that's what I'll say. So we did, between Spain, Lisbon, and Porto. Or sorry. Yeah, Spain, Lisbon, and Porto. Porto was the easiest where I could eat and I could eat like meat and get my protein in. Porto was the only place I got my protein in every day.
Yeah.
And I could do it like not on a crazy amount of money.
Right.
If I wanted to accomplish that in Spain or in Lisbon, I would have forked out a lot of money. At a lot of I would have just had to go buy straight up meat.
Yeah.
At like a market or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just, I don't know, it's very difficult. But Porto, god dang, it was good, dude. God dang, it was good. Their portions are big in Portugal, and so you get a lot of food, which is pretty dope. And then, sorry. Coffee tastes so much better over there.
Oh, man.
The coffee tastes so much better, dude.
And it was interesting, too, because I noticed it immediately this morning. One thing I told Shaun at, like, the end of our trip, I was just like, we don't get, like, that stale coffee breath.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you, like, drink coffee and then just the taste of it sits in your mouth for, like, hours on end?
Why is that?
Why don't we get it there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't understand anything about Europe.
No.
I don't get it at all. Like, what is it different here? I do not understand.
Yeah. And I got a cappuccino here, and it tasted like dirt compared to over there. It was so sad.
Americano's trash.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Their beans must be just so much better.
It has to be something, dude. It's so fucking
And nowhere over there, by the way, serves just drip coffee.
No, dude.
You have to get some type of an espresso drink.
Oh, my God, dude. Stop. You're turning me on.
And and they're whipping those things out all the way until 10 p.m. Whipping them.
And they're fucking charcuterie boards.
Yeah, those are good.
Dude. Their charcuterie boards were amazing. Their beer's good as fuck.
The only time in Porto that I felt like, oh shit, was when we were in Gaia, the city across the river, at the park. So and this is very interesting, and I'm guessing that's why that population has taken over that park. So in Porto, there's a park that everyone says you need to go to watch a sunset.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, Sean, look, let's go at least go look at it. If it's not sunset, that's fine. Let's go over there. It was so... They were having some kind of concert, so that didn't help. But there was definitely more of a sketchy population there than anywhere else we had been. And it was funny because one of our tour guys told us too. He said, the only good thing about Gaia is the view of Porto.
Mm-hmm. And it's so true.
But I think because that park is such a tourist attraction, because literally everything I read said that you had to go to this park and watch a sunset. So I think because it's such a touristy place, that's kind of why like a certain sketchier population kind of vultures it. Because at the bottom of the hill, it was very touristy, but nothing.
At the bottom of the hill, at the top of the park, dude, was piss. Smelled like piss. Disgusting.
But that was the only part too, because we walked through a whole bunch of back roads in Gaia, and it was just fine.
Yeah.
Nothing sketchy. No homeless people.
No. It's interesting, dude. It's super interesting. I just everybody's driving a manual, which is fucking awesome. Everybody driving a manual
In Portugal. Because they weren't...
Or Tesla.
Yeah. There weren't a whole lot in Spain. Well, you said there's 50-50.
No. Yeah, it was like 50-50. There was still a lot. Maybe a little more, maybe 60-40. But yeah, dude, I like cars over there. Like, so, examples of a Volvo V50. I love them. Every single one I saw over there manual. Finding one of those manual over here is rare.
Impossible.
Not impossible. I've seen them twice, but it's rare.
Yeah.
Where it's like, damn, dude, everyone. How cool is that? Yeah, they got a lot of cool shit going on. They got like all the what I really like is all the Sprinter vans over there.
Yeah.
They're all manual. Every Sprinter van, and I'm like, dude, give us a manual Sprinter van over here.
Dude, we saw so many like cool cars that they don't have
cool
here.
Shit, dude.
That Citroen minivan.
Damn, that was sick.
Yeah. It literally was like 3. So we sat in the back seat, and it was 3 individual seats in the back.
It was like a it was like almost like an SUV minivan.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Mix. It was so nice.
Yeah, and then the Range Rover and the
So look is sick, but then the fucking Range Rover Defenders, fuck.
Yeah, we saw some pretty sweet ass shit.
Dude. A lot of cool shit over there. A lot of cool shit.
Yeah, no matter what, if you go that way, end in Porto. I think Porto's the best place to end.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And then
oh, and like the soccer stadium was so close to where we were in Porto. I mean, I shouldn't say so close. It was a 45-minute walk, which is nothing for Sean and I.
Just getting it, dude. 28K steps that day.
But like both stadiums in Lisbon were by the airport. I saw them when we flew out. So like we would have had to take public transportation for those ones.
Yeah, dude. One thing I love about Europe is we can walk everywhere. Everywhere. Almost everywhere we walk.
Yeah.
So we are averaging a little over 20,000 steps a day. So around 8 to 9 miles a day we were walking.
And public transportation was so cheap in Porto.
Cheap, easy. It
was beautiful.
Beautiful. It was all beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, now we're back. Sad. Not gonna be able to have any carbs because it destroys our guts here.
We'll have rice and sweet potatoes.
Yeah, and regular potatoes.
Love me some potatoes.
Yeah, but
dude, I'm just thinking about a fucking piece of bread,
dude,
with some jam on it.
As soon as we got Chipotle after the airport because they don't feed us enough at the airport, obviously.
Yeah.
Got Chipotle, and I didn't tell you this, but my stomach was just in knots the whole drive home after that.
Same, dude. All fucked up.
I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Like, this didn't affect me before, and now it's just, I'm done. I was over with.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
It was sad.
Could have been the absurd amount of guac they put on them.
Maybe.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy good. Yeah, so vacay was a lot of fun. Did our W tours, which was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're reunited with Mimi.
Mm-hmm. That was exciting.
Which is beautiful.
Mm. She was very excited. And then last night she was so snuggly. I definitely remember at some point waking up to her licking my face. Because she was facing me instead of you.
Yeah. She's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Snuggle buggle.
Yeah. So she's a happy girl now.
Yeah. Sam and I are back to not being piles.
Yep. Went to the gym already this morning.
Yep.
I was really, guys, I want to stress so much of how good everything we had over there tasted that I was so worried that our staple meal of cheeseburgers and rice was going to taste like garbage. And it actually tasted really good.
It was super good, dude.
Like, I wanted to have another one. I couldn't, but I wanted to. So I was very happy to be back on track with that. Oh, yeah. Here we are, podcasting. I don't know what we're going to podcast about tomorrow, guys. I just want you to know that ahead of time. For Monday.
Right.
Sean's already distracted.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm waiting on text. Jesus fuck, dude. 17 minutes. That's how we made it.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it was like already a half an hour or something?
No. We decided on the drive and the flight that we need to spend more time like being proactive again.
Mm-hmm.
So spend some more time. I'll probably start getting up early again and right away in the morning going into just like shit to take the business forward for a few hours.
Yeah.
And just knock that out. And I probably won't actually like go into work and start the day until like 9 to 10. Just so shit can really progress. Because I've noticed over the last like couple months I haven't been doing a lot of like, I haven't really been working on the business at all.
Yeah.
It's just been like in it shit. And I need to spend time on it so that in it is easier.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was vacation was very needed, is what we discovered.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
Good refresh.
Yeah.
Restart.
We've talked about it so many times. Sean and I just never stop thinking about business.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, like, when we go work out, but sometimes even then, like, we're thinking about business. We'll go on dubs with Mimi, and all we talk about is business.
Yep.
At nighttime, we'll just be like, business. So our lives evolved around business, and we didn't realize how much, how unproductive we were getting.
Right.
Until we were on vacation. We didn't think about it for a week, and then we're finally just like, oh, like, we should be doing this, this, and this.
Right.
So it was a really good time for us to kind of step back and not think about it at all. Honestly, I didn't think about it a whole lot besides like the couple of questions we would get asked.
Right.
And plus, like, it's good for Sean and I to kind of step away for a little bit, reset ourselves, kind of reground ourselves, because everybody gets in the angry mindset after a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. Like, it could be literally nothing, and it could just set you off. So it's good for us to step back to kind of reset that and come back in the more positive manner. And the diet thing. We hadn't been fully slacking, but we haven't been fully dialed into the diet.
Right.
So literally just letting ourselves do whatever for 9 days. Like, on our way back, where we're just like, okay, we're ready to be strict again.
Uh-huh.
So, it was just it was such a good reset overall.
Very good.
I highly suggest if you're like, feel like you're in a slump, or if you're just haven't been as productive as you needed to be, to go take, you can even do a 3-4 day vacation somewhere.
Yeah.
And just like completely relax, completely stop worrying about everything. It really helps give your mind like a little bit of a reset.
It does. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's all I got.
That's all you have. You have nothing else. Wow. What movies did you watch?
Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever watched those? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched 1 and 2, which was fun. And I watched something else, didn't I?
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
The second Aquaman, which was pretty good too.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. This is what I've noticed with movies nowadays. Movies nowadays are less about acting and more about the actor bringing in their personal life.
Yeah.
So, like, everything in this thing was like Jason Momoa and how he likes his regular life. Motorcycling, drinking Guinness beer multiple times, like doing... The first Aquaman was very much about like him loving the water, being Aquaman, helping people. This one was very much about like him living his lifestyle.
Interesting.
And I'm just like, I mean, there was obviously the water, the fucking saving the day and all that shit. But like, yeah, a lot of it was like just him trying to live his lifestyle and how like work gets in the way of his lifestyle and his work is running Atlantis and all this. And I'm just like, I know, because like I follow Jason Momoa, I know that this is his personality. And I'm like, okay, but this doesn't go along with like Aquaman. But it does now.
I don't know much about Aquaman's story in the comic books.
Sure.
So, I mean, because I thought I remember, like, in the first Aquaman, like, he was, like, because he was a fisherman, wasn't he? So he would go out to the bar and drink with the other fishermen.
Yep.
So I don't know if that is Aquaman's story or not, to be honest.
Right.
That's one hard thing with, like, all superheroes is they do actually have a very extensive backstory in comic books that most people don't know about. Or that was the whole thing with Robert Pattinson as Batman. So many people hated that movie, but it was year one, and like it followed really closely to like how Batman became Batman, like how he started.
Oh, sure.
And like people are just like, oh, it was just so boring. Like there wasn't much like fighting and action. It was more like the detective-y stuff. And it's just like, well, that's how he started.
Right.
Like you have to start somewhere. Like he wasn't always such like a crime-fighting person. And I mean, Batman has always been more of a detective, anyways.
That's true.
But it was just so people that know the comics and that side of stuff, like it was a good movie. But to everyone that just only knows the Batman movies and thinks he should always be crime fighting, it doesn't make sense.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm not really sure the backstory of the Aquaman.
Yeah.
So maybe that does line up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I watched Barbie.
How was that?
It was a good movie overall.
That's how Aquaman 2 was, by the way. It's a good movie overall.
Yeah. They just... I don't know. It was so interesting because, like, so in Barbie world, it's run by women, everything is women, and just, like, the men are there, basically. All the Kens are there. And it very much evolves around the women.
Makes sense.
And then there's, like, Barbie has to go into the real world, and that's when, like, and it was her and Ken that went. And Ken realizes that the real world is patriarchy almost. Well, they show that it's a patriarchy is kind of what bothered me about it. Because it was literally like, oh, men do everything. Men run the companies. Men do this. Men do that. Like, and women have broken a lot of those borders now. So it's not, that's the one thing that bothered me is like the board of Mattel that owns Barbie in the movie, it was all men. And Will Ferrell was the CEO.
I love that.
I hated it. But, and I'm sure in real life it's probably not that. But they were stressing so much about how it's a whole bunch of men that are deciding things for little girl toys.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just really weird how they kept stressing about that. And then Ken went back to the Barbie world and made it all about men. And how when the world evolves around men, women are just hypnotized into wanting to take care of them. So, like, bring them beer, give them massages, clean up after them. Like, all the stereotypical mom things from, the 60s.
Right.
And it just never showed, like, how men and women can work together.
Right.
Like, it was very much either, like, women have to run things or men have to run things. And this is how it is when women do it, and this is how it is when men do it. And it just never really showed a good, like, blend between the two, which is how I feel like the movie should have ended.
Right.
It does talk... The one thing that it does kind of go into is how it's, like, hard for people to know what to do in life.
Right.
Because, like, afterwards, Barbie feels, like, lost because she is just like, I don't know what I want to do or what I want to be. So that was kind of interesting how they, like, did show that it's, like, okay to not know what you want to do in life, but to, like, figure out who you are to figure out what you want to do.
Right.
So, yeah, overall, it was a good movie, but I think the message from it is kind of meh.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I've heard actually a lot about. Like, a lot of people have said, like, it is kind of damaging of, like, the whole patriarchy and...
That's how a lot of things are.
Yeah. So, yeah, I watched that one, and then I watched Battle of the Sexes. Well, I didn't realize I watched so many women empowerment movies. Did you realize that when I was watching Battle of the Sexes? I only watched Battle of the Sexes because it's a tennis movie. That one, I told Shaun, I was like, it's a pretty boring movie, but the whole story is interesting. Because it's about how tennis is the only sport that women and men get paid the same. Mm-hmm. And it's the story of how that became a thing. So it was like in the 1970s. So the story is good, but I'm telling you, the movie is boring. I had to stop about half hour, 45 minutes in, because I was so bored and went to do something else and then went back to it to finish it. But it is a good story.
Yeah.
So that's what I watched. Those are my movie recaps for you.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Ooh, Shaun and I went to... Shaun and I went to a bookstore. So we didn't go to the J.K. Rowling one, obviously. Nor did we get to see any university students in their robes.
No.
But we went to a bookstore, the oldest bookstore in Lisbon.
I thought it was Europe.
Oh, maybe. No, that was in Madrid. Wasn't that?
I don't know. It was an old-ass bookstore.
Yeah, anyways. Obviously, like, almost everything was in Portuguese, but of course we somehow stumbled upon the personal development section that was conveniently all in English. And what books did we get, Shaun?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Which is a book we thought we've had forever, but we both mistaked it for the 7
Habits of Highly Successful People.
Yep. So we got that one, and then what was the other one?
Do you remember it?
The Communist Manifesto.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
By Karl Marx.
Yep. It's in Shaun, if you want to hold up one of those books behind you, it's in a really pretty cover.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I ain't reaching out with this arm.
You can't reach with the other arm? It's in this beautiful cover that matches these other ones that I have.
Like this?
Yeah. So it's kind of in that style of a cover. So it'll fit really nicely in with that bookshelf. With my Jane Eyre and Jane Austen books that I got over there. So yeah, I'm kind of curious how reading that's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
It does talk about. I want to look into this more. One thing we heard a lot on our walking tours was about how Portugal was in a dictatorship for 47 years, 49
Yeah,
years.
something like that.
And they just had the 50th anniversary of the demise of the dictatorship. So while we were there, there was tons of graffiti that said the 25 de Abril, so the 25th of April, which was, so they're celebrating their freedom to that. And all of the tour guides said how it was a fascist dictator. The Communist Manifesto talks about all these communist dictatorships and listed Portugal as one of the countries that had one.
So, yeah, I'm interested to know. Because our first tour guide said it was a communist regime. And then it changed to fascism over the next two. Mm-hmm. And the one that talked about it being a communist regime was white. And the two that talked about it being fascist was not white.
Who said it was?
Qui said it was communism.
Okay.
And then the other two said it was fascism.
I can remember what Paula said.
Paula was Spain.
Yeah. Oh, she wouldn't have told us. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did talk about Spain and communism, though.
Yeah.
And that it did go on pretty late as well.
Yeah. So I'm very interested to kind of read more about that. We've talked about it when we went to Germany, Poland, and Czech, how there was a right-winged president for Italy or something was running, and everyone was calling her a fascist.
Yep.
Everyone. And she's just right-leaning or right-winged.
And she ended up being a Republican.
Yeah. But anything that is slightly to the right, they call a fascist, which I know liberals, one of them, there's someone that I went to high school with that I see him comment on shit all the time. And if anybody's a little bit of right side, he calls them a fascist. So I'm curious to see if it was actually fascism or if it was communism.
Right.
But the Communist Manifesto said it was communism. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, not surprised, because a lot of those places were fascist. Well, no. The fascist was Germany, and then after Germany, who came in and conquered? Well, it was the U.S. and Russia, but the Russia's who actually conquered, and Russia took over, and Russia's communism.
Yeah.
And then they just implemented that. And that was the same thing in Poland. It went over how many people died during the Holocaust under fascism. And then it went over how many people died over the next however many years under communism from Russia. It was way more under communism.
Substantial.
Way more. Not that fascism is still terrible. The big issue here, everything is, no matter which way you go, you can't go too far. We have to stay in the middle. Every time we go too far one direction, you get either communism or fascism, and that's where shit goes wrong. If we could just hang out and chill in a republic like we should, we're good. We're good. Or an actual working democracy, but it's very difficult to have an actual working democracy. And they even they tried having a democracy for 30 years in Portugal. It was a big fucking dumpster fire, and they ended up getting taken over by communism. And what happens when you continue down the road of democracy? That was a dumpster fire. Communism. And so that's exactly what it turned into.
Yeah.
And so it's like, republic is where you need to be, because it's just where you need to be.
Yeah.
And you need to be strict with how things are, and you need people to speak up when the government gets corrupt, and you need people to step in and keep things going.
Yeah. But. I did also just finish Silka's Journey. So I think I've talked about it. The same author who wrote Tattooist of Auschwitz, Heather Morris, she also wrote Silka's Journey. Sadly, she never got to meet Silka, so she only heard about her through Lael.
Okay.
So the tattooist.
Yeah.
Because he always said that she was the bravest person he ever met.
Wow.
And he always made a point to say person So not woman or a man, a person. So, but she did like a lot of, so her stories are based off of nonfiction, but they're technically fictional because there are so many gaps that you have to just fill in.
Right.
And so Silka's journey, she was able to piece together a lot of things, doing a lot of research of like trying to find documents of her and where she was. And I think she was able to actually interview some people that worked with her in different forms and whatnot.
Oh, interesting.
But Silka went to a communist camp after Auschwitz.
Right.
Because she slept with the Nazis to live, and they said that was going against the Communist Party.
Right.
So then she was imprisoned for 10 years in the communist prison.
Ouch.
And I didn't know this. So it's in this town, it starts with a V. It's super far north in Russia. So far north that it is a part of the Arctic Circle.
Jesus.
So they, during the summertime, they would call them white nights, because for 2 or 3 months straight, they would have no, the sun would never go down. And then the same thing in the winter, the sun would never come up for three months. And she talked about like the harsh winters that they had, and just all this crazy stuff. But then after, in like the author notes, Heather was talking about how there was times when like the snow wouldn't even melt all the way, because there's just so much snow there all the time that even during the summertime when the sun would never go down, it wouldn't melt all the way.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it was one of like the harshest camps around, because it's just so far north.
Ouch.
But there's still so the town was built by the prisoners, because it has a huge like coal mine. So the prisoners were the miners. And yeah, it said there's still like a town there, mainly people that are descendants of prisoners or workers at the camp. But it's still a town.
Crazy.
But yeah, Silka did eventually get released, because once Stalin died, then they started really letting a lot of prisoners get released.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, one of her hut mates, she was in there because she married a Russian man. So, because she was Czech and he was Russian. So because they got married, she's pretty sure that he passed, and then she got imprisoned for 5 years.
Damn.
Just because she ruined their pure blood.
Pure blood, yeah.
So yeah, I highly suggest Silka's Journey. It's if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free on there.
Damn, geez.
Okay, that's what I got. That's all my reviewing of things I've watched and read lately.
I love it. Cool. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. See you in the next one.
Peace.